Okay, so we're now at the point where we're going to run this engine to its operating temperature and then pull the valve cover off and final torque the bolts, which is 35 degrees. Now, the reason why it smoked when it started is one, there's all kinds of fluids in the engine that were put in there to make sure it was lubricated on the first start.
That's what she said.
And two, the O2 sensor wasn't fully tightened on there, so that is exactly where all of the smoke was coming right out of. This time, if it smokes at all, it's gonna come out of the tailpipe, which is at least nice, because I'd like to be able to actually see what's going on up here in the engine compartment. But we're gonna run it up to operating temperature, then we're gonna let it fully cool down, and then we're gonna torque those bolts the final 35 degrees. So that's the plan. Let's get to it. So we put the car through its first heat cycle. Everything went exactly as I expected. It was awesome. The car ran great, didn't overheat, the smoke burned off. It was fantastic. So the last thing we have to do is take the valve cover gasket off and then torque the bolts to 35 degrees. And we're gonna use this little degree measuring tool. Basically how it works is you put the bolt on, or you put the ratchet head on the bolt, and then you tighten it up, and this wedges against something that's inside there so that when you turn, it reads off degrees. So you just set it to 0, you wedge this somewhere, and then you turn it, and it has to go to 35 degrees. Once it does, the engine's fully torqued. So hopefully this goes well. I'm waiting for something else to go wrong, so we'll see. Now the process of angle torquing these nuts is not difficult.
These nuts? Got him!
You obviously have to go in the same order as the torque spec order, and then once you angle them to the correct torque spec, it's pretty simple. You're done. The main difficulty is that the tool is a little bit wonky, and you just have to find a place to make sure that it doesn't slip so that you can angle torque them to the proper 35 degrees. All right, so the final torque sequence is done. I'm gonna put the valve covers back on, and then the engine should theoretically be totally complete and ready to go.
Are you sure about that?
We'll see. We'll see how long that lasts. This is the first time the car is going to drive under its own power. Let's see how this goes. I have no idea. Well, it drove. Still has an exhaust leak in the front, but other than that, pretty nice. Well, let's take it out for a quick buzz around, see how this goes, see what the temperature looks like. You know, all the fun stuff. Got my temperature gun here, just in case. You know, we wanna monitor everything and keep an eye on the temperatures. I don't know what I'm expecting, to be honest with you. I've rebuilt about as many cars as you probably have, which is to say, this is the first, so let's give it a shot.
You're a little too heavy, buddy. Yeah! We're going down.
Yeah! For some reason, on my first drive, I had music on, so I couldn't use any of the actual audio. But it basically went okay. The car has a hesitation problem, and I'm almost always still worried about it overheating. The real test to see if it's actually all good is to take Monica for a ride. But first, we're gonna need to wash it up to make it look nice. I'm certainly not a professional detailer, so basically this is just your standard wash with soap. The car really does clean up and look pretty nice once it's all washed up. We're gonna take our first maiden voyage with Monica in the car and see how this goes. This is the first time that the battery light is turned on, which makes me question whether the alternator is working properly. We're gonna find out. You know, I said that I thought the brakes were a little bit spongy.
Yeah.
No, they're good. They're good. So, what do you think of your first ride in the BMW 733?
It was pleasant.
you sit on a throne of lies.
It was fine.
It's not bad for a car I built. It's got a lot of character, huh?
Yes. I have nothing to say. I really have nothing to say. I'm sorry.
Yep, that is the look of somebody who hates it. So it is running, and it does work, but it does have some issues. It is really, really hesitating and doesn't accelerate very well, and it idles like crap. We still have some work to do, and we're definitely going to get to it. Why would we spend all this time and money on this old beat-up 733 that isn't worth anything? Well, it has to be for the love of cars. And if this moron can figure it out, I know you can too. So go out there and find that old beat-up jalopy that you always wanted, make it run, and have some fun. And I'll see you in the next one.